Hey guys, Jesse here today, coming at you with another banger, or just another story. The drawing in the background is of this construction site near my house. I thought it'd be cool to do like a little mini ocean and fencing they made. Today I wanted to talk about my experience with my first life drawing class while I was living in Thailand. This was back in 2019 when I was living in Chiang Mai in the north. It was my second attempt to make a living as an artist. If you'd seen my previous video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So basically my plan this time was save up a bunch of money, get a cheap apartment somewhere, and then just draw like my life depended on it. There's definitely a lot more details to that, and it honestly ended up being a really memorable and important journey for me, but yeah, I'll talk about that another time. The story for this video is just about the first life drawing class. So I'd been in town for about a month at this point and had found my daily routine. I lived in this cheap studio apartment for it was about like $140 a month. I'd wake up pretty early, around like 7, head to the Muay Thai gym across the street, get a workout in for about 2 hours, then go back, shower. After that, I'd pack my iPad, sketchbook, and a few other accessories into my backpack and go to a local restaurant, again across the street, for breakfast. Then I'd find a cafe and just try to work for 4 or 5 hours. After that, I'd find another restaurant, then go home and draw some more, and then just kind of rinse and repeat. It wasn't the absolute cheapest I could live, but honestly, I just wanted to get out whenever possible. And I was in a new country too, so it was better to try to see something. As I've experienced firsthand, making new friends can be very difficult when you work alone. So by this point, I had been wanting to do a life drawing course for years, but I could never find one, no matter what city or country I was in. And I was longing to meet some new friends who weren't just fighters, or just anyone who's an artist. I always thought it would just be so cool to meet, because I never went to art school or anything like that. So whenever I met someone who would draw, it was just this mind-blowing experience. I must have found them on Facebook. I don't remember, but eventually I found this live drawing kind of club, I guess, that would meet every few weeks to do a life drawing session. So I noticed they had one for the upcoming week, and I made a point to sign up. I think it cost a little bit of money, but it was really, really cheap. So remember that day I'd finished training, drawing, and everything, and I didn't want to bring my iPad because I don't know what to expect, so I just brought my sketchbook. I walked there because it was so close, like relatively close. I walked about like 30-40 minutes. Finding the building was difficult. I kind of wandered around for a while, and eventually I found it on like the 3rd story of this apartment looking building in one of the busier parts of town. I had to walk through a restaurant, through a bar, up until I found this little room where there was 2 girls just hanging out. I thought I was in the wrong building, but I guess I was just really early, so they told me just to wait. It'll start in like 15 minutes. So I didn't know what to do. I've never done life drawing before, so I just went and sat in the corner on the floor and just kind of stretched and just waited. Eventually the room started filling up. People came in. A lot of them knew each other. I didn't really know anyone, so I kind of just sat. But I think a few people who also didn't know anyone sat around me, so it was kind of cool to see other people were kind of nervous and they didn't know what to expect. When the models came and got undressed and made their poses, it didn't bother me at all. I was completely unfazed by it. I was just trying to focus on keeping up with everyone. So the class ended up going real good. I started chatting with the people next to me, kind of made some friends. I think it was about 2 or 3 hours long. By the end, it was dark outside. Everyone had finished up and we all just kind of sat around talking. It was great. I mean, everyone was an artist and I just got to hang out and just talk with them. I think someone mentioned that they were doing an event on the roof. It was Friday night. So there was apparently a rooftop bar up there, and a lot of people were going to go hang out afterwards. I don't think drinking is normally a part of life drawing, but I wasn't going to pass this up. So we go up to this bar, and it was this dimly lit, open-air establishment about the size of a, I don't know, swimming pool. So I took a seat right at the bar with a few of the others. They gave you a menu, and I ended up buying this locally crafted beer for like $8, which is outrageous in Thailand, but whatever. It was cool. It was cool to support the community, I guess. The place started filling up pretty quickly, and people started getting pretty loose. It was pretty cool to see. It was pretty packed, probably about 30, 40 people. I think they were doing some sort of music at the end of the bar. They put some sort of camera in front of a fishbowl and started throwing objects in the fishbowl and filmed it, and it was on a projector in the background. I don't even know how that sounded, but it's really hard to describe. It was really strange. And this girl walks in, and I see her out of the corner of my eye, and she kind of looks like female from The Boys, but she comes in with her shoulders slouched and kind of not looking at anyone in particular. And this guy next to me was this really shy guy who came with his girlfriend, I think. He was just starting to open up, and she walks by and just screams at the top of her lungs right next to him. And everyone just kind of looks at her, and I don't really know what's going on. He just got really quiet. She kind of just meanders around the bar and then does it again. And the bartenders or staff weren't really paying attention, so I didn't know what to make of it. And she kind of just wandered towards the front, and I forgot about it for about a minute or two. But then I quickly remembered her presence when she started running back, laughing. She was like running, laughing like a kid, I guess, and ran to the exit and down the stairs. And I kind of just shrugged. I guess kept drinking my beer. I didn't really know what to make of it. It was at this point, though, when the music started to take this weird occult sound to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It was some underground tracks for sure. And of course the girl came back, and this time she had props, if you can try to imagine whatever that is. She just had items with her, and she eventually went and stood on the bar. I don't think she was singing, but she was yelling. It was about this time that I kind of understood this was some sort of performance with the band. So I guess I was kind of into it, but it was still kind of strange. So she starts crawling on the bar. She mixed between standing, crawling, I think she even rolled, and she was just handing out stuff to people. And eventually she pulled out this cup with jelly beans and just started putting them in people's mouths. I don't think she never put one in my mouth, but she just eventually gave up on that and just kind of passed the bowl around. And eventually it got to me, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hungry, so I kind of just kept the bowl and just started eating all the jelly beans she had. I never got any side effects, so hopefully nothing was wrong with that. So eventually this girl kind of gets back to her feet in the bar and starts undressing. And immediately I'm like, oh no, I hope this isn't the kind of thing I think it is. Thankfully she stopped with that, but then she started throwing things into the crowd. And I didn't see what it was until the song ended, and then she just pulled out a box of tampons and just threw them into the crowd. And people were catching them by this point. It was just so odd. After that, she kind of just got down and just hung around like a normal person. It was really weird. Like everything just kind of carried on after that. It was this very weird performance. I was like, are all life drawing classes like this? The rest of the night actually went pretty well. We went to a few more bars. I hung out with a lot of the artists. I was only in town another 2 months, but I ended up going to a few more of those, and we never went to a weird bar scene like that again, but every time it was just a blast, and it was so cool to meet them. I even got to link up with these local Thai artists who all taught at a college, and they were just all so good. And they would just sit around, sitting on these crates at night, drawing figures while smoking and drinking beer excessively. I still didn't know any Thai, but I felt honored to be in their presence. Now, eventually I'd leave this place, like I said, and move on. The trip where I'd try to make a living a second time definitely did not end there. That's a story for a different time. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my first life drawing experience. Big shout out, like usual, to my patrons. We're now up to 8, so I had to lower the font size, so that's just awesome. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later.